What activities did you do that created your best month ever?
Just listen to Anton. But I think really the most important thing is just being consistent with making the phone calls, doing the follow-up, doing the door knocking, doing the open houses.
What activities did you do that created your best month ever?
I was a little bit more aggressive. I made sure to, when I followed up, I was very deliberate about it. I'd give value, and then I'd say, all right, guys, well, let's sit down. Let's figure out what the next game plan is. And this is something where people, they need it right now. They need to feel like, okay, Elias, please help me. What is it? I want to do this thing, but I don't know where to start. I'm like, perfect. How about we sit down, just start a conversation and get the plan, get the ball rolling for you, right? Because then they feel like they have an advocate, and then we can help out and the ball rolling for them.
You were basically asking them, okay, let's take the next step.
Yes. I think that's one of the biggest things where I didn't do that in the beginning. And now that I'm doing that, things are starting to work, and, best month ever, right?
Let's be real specific. So we got 3 listing agreements, 3 buyer agreements, and 3 under contract. That's a phenomenal month. Give me the stage. What had to happen for September to come together like that? Where did the leads come from? What was the level of follow-up? What was your mindset? It sounds like we were taking the next logical step, but give me more context in regards to that.
So I guess I can talk about my listings. The first thing that I did was, my first listing was, I listed my property, a property in Kenmore, and this one was a year follow-up.
Yep.
So I made sure to be on top of it. It was an expired listing. She didn't want to talk to any agent. I went up, I met her, and we just talked about her life. I didn't really push too much on that, and then from there it was just constant follow-up. She had to work on the property, and I said, no pressure, I'm here whenever you want. Right? Whenever you need any help, I'm here. And that was just constantly calling once a month, and once we got closer, I would follow up once a week, every other day. How everything's looking, when can I come by, look at the property, and just help.
And maybe even another way to say that is, when you were following up, what happened over a longer period of time is you built capital T trust with this individual. You built a relationship, and you understood, their wants and needs. So really, the follow-up was probably one of the biggest keys there.
Yes.
What else?
So the other listing was my SOI, was my family members. And we actually spoke back in summer. So all of these deals that I've had, they have never been get on the phone call, I want to buy, I want to sell right now. They've all been follow-ups over last couple months, over a year. So I think that the biggest thing was just following up with people. So with my family, they wanted to buy something in summer because they're just trying to all have the family in one. And so what they did was, our house, we've already outgrown our house, and we want to just move and get into this type of mother-in-law situation where you have everybody in one house. And so what we did was, we kept looking. We got them under contract, and now we were able to list their property. So now they're contingent. My other listing as well, what they were doing is, this was another person I had to follow up with for a while. And first thing, he's like, well, I want to buy a big house. And I'm like, well, how big? He's like, about $1 million. I'm like, oh, okay, I can work with that. I'd love to help you with that.
That's a big house.
And he's like, and I got a condo, I want to sell it. And I was like, well, when do you want to? He actually wanted to sell it in the summer. And then things were just not working out for him. He was really busy, but I kept following up. And then he was like, calls me, Elias, I'm ready to list. I want to start now, before the end of the year. I'm like, well, perfect. So I went over. It was pretty easy. We figured out what he needed to do, got the paperwork signed, and now we're starting the search as well.
I love it. What methods of lead generation have you been most successful at? What's like your primary, and then what's like your secondary and your tertiary?
Primary is cold calling. Which is really funny because, like I said before, I hated cold calling.
Are you an extreme extrovert, sir?
Oh, I'm super introverted. It's really funny just to be in this business. I love it. I think I'm happy that I'm in it because it gets to push me and get out of my comfort zone all the time, thanks to you. But cold calling is one of my biggest things, where I make sure I call expired, canceled, FSBOs all the time. And then I'll call around after I have a listing. Hey, I have a listing, especially for open houses. My second one is social media. What I do is I post a lot on social media. I'm deliberate. I send messages out to people and say, hey, my name's Elias. I'm a real estate agent. I'd love to be a resource for you or for your family, your friends. Do you happen to know anybody wanting to do something? Just simple, right? Like nothing, I don't want to push too hard. And I actually ended up getting my last listing because of that.
Awesome.
So she wanted to sell her dad's house. She didn't talk to anybody. She didn't know anybody. And we ended up listing it that same week. And now we're under contract, and we're ready to get that sold for them and get moved.
So 1, cold call, 2, social media. What's the next one?
Probably like door knocking. I would say door knocking for sure.
Door knocking, open house kind of tie.
Yeah.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, watch this one too.